Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the show for leaders who want real results, not more noise. Join Emanuel Rose as he helps business builders turn AI from a confusing add-on into a practical advantage with clearer messaging, stronger trust, and smarter systems. If you felt a shift happening in real time, you're not imagining it. In the Agentic pivot, Emanuel calls it the move from experimenting with AI to building with it, so it supports your team, your brand, and your growth. Let's get into it.
Welcome to this episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. I am Emanuel Rose. My guest today is Jeff Borschowa of Pharos Business, a strategist who helps B2B teams align sales, marketing, and operations to deliver predictable revenue and scalable customer experiences. Jeff brings a system-first approach to revenue ops and practical automation, focusing on measurable lifts rather than flashy pilots. We'll dig into where AI actually moves the needle, how to operationalize it, and how to prove ROI, which, Jeff, it's great to see you. Thanks for taking some time to have a conversation with me today.
Emanuel, thank you for having me. It is always a pleasure to hang out with a fellow AI nerd and share my obsession with the greater customer journey.
Well, I love it. Well, we chatted about through email was we'll talk about this program or this project that you've built, which is kind of a marrying of a very granular ICP with the concept of a top 100. So tell me a little bit about the background, how you ended up here.
I love it. And first things first, I will always credit Chet Holmes with his Dream 100. I have done this most of my life. I'm going to say it's because I'm autistic, but listening to Chet, it gave me the language to describe what I was doing. And for better or worse, I call it whale hunting because back in the day, I have a lot of friends who are either in marketing or sales, and they're always chasing what I call the minnows, the tiny little deals. And the problem with those is once you catch them, then you got to get your little scalpel out and start to slice and dice it and share it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas in the old days, when a village caught a whale, the entire village survived for months on that whale. So it is a systems approach. And my youngest son calls it cyber stalking. I've been assured that it is, in fact, legal, and it's called open source intelligence gathering. So my version of whale hunting is if I'm going out anyways, and I've got friends that'll benefit from this, let's all put our effort together and bring in that whale rather than being the minnow farmers who are fighting over the spoils of the net.
Yeah, and that, we've all been there, right? When anybody who's working for themselves has worked really hard to get a client, or you got a friend who wants to be a client, and then you've got this tiny contract, you have no margin, and they expect you to produce $50,000 a month results for them. So it's the same cost to spool up a project, whether it's tiny or giant in a lot of ways. So I love the concept, and I love the granularity that you helped walk me through for developing ideal client profiles. So talk a little bit about your process on that.
Yeah, so I think, sorry, this goes back, I don't know why, but when I was watching the news back in the day during the original Gulf War, I was fascinated by the bunker buster, the laser guided missiles. And it's like these things literally would drop on a pin and hit exactly the structural thing they needed to get through it. I see a massive amount of noise and wasted energy in business because I cringe when people come to me and say, I serve everyone. The avatar that annoys me the most is skincare. Somebody said, we serve everyone with skin. No. And I'm like, do I look like I spend money on skincare?
Exactly. I actually believe that stuff causes cancer, so get away from me.
Yeah, and careful how you answer, because either way you're going to offend somebody. But it just occurred to me, I'm a student of human nature and I'm a student of business. And it occurred to me how much energy is wasted in any size business when we're trying to be too generic or serve too many people. So for me, I realized, and a lot of this I did accidentally, and it worked, and I went, "Ooh, I'm going to do more of that." But once upon a time, I was doing a lot of coaching for accounting firms, and when I used general terms, I got general results. But when I said, I'm working with partners in a mid-sized firm that has 3 to 5 partners, 10 to 20 staff, all of a sudden people started finding me. And what I realized was, in my sales training, we learned to fall in love with the customer. I learned to be obsessed with their problems, because if I could show up at a meeting and say, I know I'm here to sell you this thing and I'm here to talk to you about it, but I know you're actually worrying about your quarterly results. I'm going to introduce you to my friend Emanuel. He can help you with that. My network became my greatest asset. And
Yeah.
fascinating thing was, it opened doors that I didn't even know were there. People would say, "Psst, come over here. You need to meet this person." So from an early career, I've realized I'd rather solve the little problems of the big players than try to solve the big problems of the little players. Because
Sure.
the weird aha moment was, the big players, their little problems still came with decent sized budgets, whereas the little players, their biggest problems have tiny budgets.
This is a true story. So lift the hood a little bit and tell me, have you built one custom GPT to take ICP and marry into top 100, or is this a series of custom GPTs?
Manuel asks, knowing the answer. I have approximately 400 different custom GPTs. Each one is a specialist in one thing, and probably about 20 of them all focus on the ICP. So there is the ICP where they are today, where they're stuck, the pain, the identity they have, what they're frustrated by. Then there's one, it's the aspirational, where they want to be. And then there's the problem with most marketing and sales is we assume problem solution paired up together, everybody's happy. What I look at is, what's the journey from status quo? I'm stuck in this problem. I'm happy here, or I'm at least not unhappy enough that I have to move. Most people don't realize that hiring an expert, there's this fog in between, that it might be smooth sailing. It might be a journey with monsters. It might be one of storms. Most people assume that the prospect is just sitting there waiting for us to come and sell their solution. We need to help them understand if the journey is worth it for them in the first place. So I have
call that
probably about
the already existing concerns, right? We have a lot of things already on our plate. We've got to break through that in order to have a conversation and then disrupt all the other stuff that they're doing in order to get our situation solved.
And I think that's what a lot of marketing and sales misses, is that the people that we're asking, we're shouting and saying, hey, give us your attention. They're juggling 1,000 things and going, which one do I drop so that I can pay attention to you? Exactly. So I help people understand, and I'm developing new custom GPTs, and I'm building some gems in Gemini as well. My new favorite thing is using Notebook LM, because if I have my ICP and it's clear, anything I create, whether it's marketing, whether it's sales, systems, new products, I can effectively interrogate my ICP and ask, which of these is worth your attention right now?
Yep. Yeah, what's interesting, I'm working on, as you know, on this project called Spec Kitty, and it's a code team tool, and we're talking about Jira and some of the project management software that a lot of big companies use, and how everybody, for the most part, hates using Jira because it's really expensive and nobody uses it correctly. But you're not going to just disrupt and say, hey, I got a great project management tool. Let's we're going to save you money and make you more efficient, because nobody wants to accept the cost of time and money in order to replace project management software. So,
well, early in my career, somebody came to me and they were in sales, and they said nobody ever got fired for hiring IBM. And I went,
right.
That's interesting. Tell me more. But here's the thing. The other piece that I love is I was working with some firms and I was training them on how to use Google Workspace. And they said, well, we're a Microsoft firm. We all use Microsoft. And
right.
This was back in the day when Microsoft was 99% of the market and Google was just coming out. One of the HR people said, if we switch to Google, we're going to have to pay to train our employees, who will then go work at our competitors and we'll train them. Whereas if we use Microsoft, our competitors train them and they come to us knowing how to use the tool. And so that stuck with me, because I think that's the piece most people miss. And by the way, coming back to whale hunting, I forget the three companies, but you gave me three, and you said, and Jira was one of them. You said, this is the audience for Spec Kitty. They use these three tools. And I was like, okay, I kind of got it. But then you said Red Hat Linux, and my head exploded, and I went, yay. And I forget the fifth one. I think it was actually NVIDIA. But when I realized there's 5 overlapping circles right in the heart of that, in the center, everybody in the development space right now is circling and orbiting around NVIDIA because they're a major player.
Yeah.
So, back to whale hunting and me with my open source intelligence, I found that NVIDIA has a major conference called NVIDIA GTC, and roughly 30,000 people attend, and pretty much looking at their profiles, every single one of them is in the ICP for Spec Kitty.
Well, I just want to know what bar to go and sit in so I can meet everybody, Jeff. That's how I want to meet my ICP.
Well, here's the beautiful thing. I'm going to be bringing them into my podcast, so you don't even have to go sit somewhere.
Okay.
So I've done a lot of conferences, and the aha for me is that in the heat of a conference, everything is about the conference. 48 hours, 72 hours, you've got this conference brain and you've got all this energy and everybody's networking. And then 362 days of the year, quiet.
Right.
So what I like to do is find these people, and Emanuel and I are working on this project together. That's why we both know it so well. We're going to be identifying the speakers, the sponsors, the organizers, and the attendees. And we're going to be finding ways to add value to them. And spoiler alert, one of the best ways I know to add value to people is introduce them to one another.
That's a nice
one.
I love it.
It adds value to the ecosystem without, I can add value just by connecting people. And I'm going to go out on a limb, Emanuel. If there was 30,000 people there, even if you're a super connector, you didn't meet more than 500 people. It's just not physically possible.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's for sure. And you're probably more likely to meet 10 that are valuable and out of that 30,000, right? Or not valuable, I mean, transactional. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it's a lot of people see it. And I do a weird approach to marketing and sales. I'm very much about the relationships. Transactions come out of the relationships.
Yep.
But if you don't have the relationship, either it's you walk up and this is what most people do at conferences. I sell widgets. Do you want to buy one? Nope. Okay, next. Spoiler alert, the math is terrible on that. The average person, whatever you sell, the world, there's 3% looking to buy your thing at this moment.
Right. In market. Right.
In market. So if you're at the conference and you happen to be 5 minutes early, 5 minutes late, it's dumb luck that you actually close a deal at a conference. And not totally dumb luck, because I know some people do some advanced research, but when you think about 30,000 people in a conference center, there's a lot of randomness and chance to that.
Indeed, and it is a much better long-term view of creating relationships, finding other things those people are looking for, connecting them with those things immediately, and eventually they'll wrap around and be in market again. That's the nice, or they'll move to another company where that company's in market.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing. If you build those relationships, people change jobs. I mean, especially you look at the top right now, everybody moves from Meta to Open to, it's just, they keep shuffling.
For sure. Yeah.
You never know who's going to be looking in a role that they can inform a budget or spend.
Well, talk a little bit more about, so it sounds like what you're working on is you're identifying the ICP, you're finding the top 100 of that ICP, you are then inviting them to do something with you, is what I'm hearing.
Yes. So I do a couple of things, and the easy entry level for me is I host virtual networking groups. And it is amazing that people will do almost anything to avoid hosting a networking group. But and again, I don't like to go to networking events because I don't know who's there. But if I personally run and set up the group, I know exactly who's coming. But the key is, and this is the part most people don't get well, I deliberately stack the room so that everybody in the room benefits from being in that room, so that the next time I say, hey, I'm doing another event, they all remember, oh yeah, Jeff introduced me to this person. It is the old adage, the network effect. If you can be the one who brings great people together, they'll bring other great people to you.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and then and I know a big part of your philosophy is based on the Go-Giver, and what a great book that was, and a great philosophy to have, where you're caring about the humans you're doing business with.
Well, you may not be surprised, but I actually have, first of all, I'm a huge fan of Bob Berg and John David Mann. I've actually built, I think, 3 custom GPTs based on their work. So I have one based on endless referrals from Bob in way back in the day, and then a couple based on the Go-Giver. But the number one is, they talk about the 5 laws of stratospheric success, and it's about adding value to others and how do you create value. So everything I build has a value filter. So if it's not adding value to people, why would I waste my time or theirs?
Yeah, 100%. And that's why you and I get along so well, because that's what we're looking to do, is help people achieve their goals in a quicker, more cost-effective way, and get on to spending time with their family, or getting outside and away from the screens.
Yes, let's not forget time in nature. But it is funny, and this is something that I'm obsessed with. Everybody I encounter is a human being, and if I can help them meet their goals somehow quicker and give them more time in their life, I get a lot of pushback from marketing and sales traditional methods, because they say, oh, you're not visible enough, or you're not doing this enough. And it's like, but I help people. And when, I've introduced people who ended up doing massive deals together, both parties remember that, and both parties bring me other deals. I've never regretted introducing people to one another, because there's always value that's created, and it's a synergy. It's not 1 + 1 is 2. It's 1 + 1 = 111, because we all win somehow.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, that you're bringing people together, and you don't need, in this situation that we're in, we don't need all 30,000 people from that conference, right? We need 10 or 12 of them, and then that then blossoms out from there. So, and I think sometimes as marketers, we get distracted by thinking suspects are prospects, and just because everybody has skin doesn't mean that they're going to actually be in market for our product. So,
Yeah.
Well, I love the work that you're doing. I'm excited to see what we were able to create out of this whale hunt for Spec Kitty, and I appreciate you spending some time today talking about it with me.
I love it. And I just want to underline something you said, because a lot of people think, oh, if I don't hit 20,000, if I don't have 30,000 prospects, I'm not successful. The way Chet Holmes built the Dream 100 and where he focused, he firmly believes, and it's a scale thing. It's not an exact, you have 100 or not, but there's a number where if we attract ideal clients, and for most small businesses, it's 10, maybe 20. If we attract the best clients, that'll change the entire trajectory of our life and our business. Most people say, oh, it's not worth it. I would assure you there are, by the way, look inside your existing clients, your 10 favorite ones, find a way to clone them, because they already know your next favorite clients.
Yeah, without a doubt. Jeff, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, have a conversation, how do they do that?
Absolutely. Best way is find me on LinkedIn. I am always active on LinkedIn. Or if you want to understand a little bit of the weird stuff I write about, pharosbusiness.com. I assume I can send you the link, but
yeah, absolutely.
LinkedIn is the place to be. You'll find me there all the time.
All right. I do find you there frequently. Well, I appreciate your time. I'm going to turn you loose on the world, and look forward to seeing you again real soon, Jeff.
Awesome. Thanks, Emanuel.
Thank you. Well, I think if there's only one takeaway from the day, it is add value and figure out where in your marketing you can add value to your prospects and clients, and that will make you successful. Also, go back through and dig through your ideal client profiles, tighten those up, and then figure out a way to track down a top 100 or give Borschowa a call and get his help doing the same. Hope you got some value from the conversation today. I did. I enjoy every time I get to talk with Jeff. And I hope that you go and do some research on AI or on ICP, and that you find a way to save a couple hours from your work week. And with that time, you continue to upskill, that you spend that time with your friends and family, and that you get outside into nature, away from the screens. This is Emanuel Rose, Marketing in the Age of AI.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.